mixing mojo all up in there. Be keeping it real, you know we get international house of mojo. You best be listening to our show, yeah. Mixing mojo, mixing mojo, mixing mojo, mixing mojo, mixing mojo, mixing mojo, mixing mojo.
Hi, this is Jason.
This is Chris.
And this is Peter.
Yay.
It's March 13th, 2011.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it's been November since we last recorded something. And I think that last one actually got posted in December. So as far as you know, we've only been gone for 3 months. Yeah.
Long time.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
And a lot has happened.
Yeah.
And when were you last on, Pete?
When was I last? I've got no idea. Was I even on last year?
I don't know. Well, we only had about 2 last year.
Probably not. It's been like I haven't really been around.
Well, I've been in China. Which you'll know that I'm not now, because my sound quality is probably a bit better.
So people should probably know that while we're doing this, I am eating a fry-up. So,
And was
just in case
a
there are
moment
any-
ago on fire.
I was. The room sort of filled up very suddenly with smoke. And yeah, anything could happen on the MojoCast.
It was kind of
usually
funny.
does.
He was choking in the background. Like, we heard sirens. We were just laughing. We probably should have called the police, but I mean,
I'm fine.
We were just enjoying it.
yeah, we had a good time.
Nothing is ruined.
Well, as long as the sausages came out okay.
They did. They really did.
Good. I expect munching sounds.
Okay then. So,
Games? Yeah.
in game news,
Alright.
what do we got?
We've got, first of all, Telltale announcing pretty much every game on the planet. I've got the list here. Obviously, Back to the Future and Jurassic Park first. But also announcing The Walking Dead, Fables with an S,
This is
not the
sort of
Lionhead one.
less news now and more like a Telltale retrospective,
Oh,
isn't it?
Puzzle Agent 2, King's Quest, and Hector Badge of Carnage, which none of us ever heard of.
So, just like first of all, the King's Quest thing. I just think it's going to be really weird having to talk about Sierra games on
Mojo.
On Mojo now.
Oh,
That's just weird, isn't it?
and none of us knowing anything about them. Jason, do you know anything about them?
I mean, I've played the King's Quest series and
Wow.
the Space Quest and
More than I've done.
Leisure Suit Larry, all the big series. But you know, I'm a fan of Sierra. I just happen to think that in a 1-to-1 fight between a Sierra adventure game and a LucasArts adventure game, Sierra is leaving that arena under the shadow of flashing red lights. But I've got nothing against Sierra, you know. But it'll be interesting them trying to do a King's Quest game, because I mean, even the people who love those games, it's not really regarded as this great story, great characters, and maybe the same way Monkey Island is. Like, you can think how Monkey Island, you know, there's a series that, you know, you could always make a good sequel to that in terms of expanding the world and the characters and stuff. But I mean, what is King's Quest in that regard? Is it? I mean, what's y'all perspective on that?
Well, it's already sort of got a sequel in a way, that they had the fan one, whatever it was called.
And a disclaimer is I've really only played like the first handful of King's Quests. I know there's like 30,000 of them, so
Yeah.
maybe my perspective on the big story is pretty limited, and I'm sure it turns into Shakespeare
Yeah, I've
and a
got
later
no experience.
installment. So
Nah. I was always put off for them. Yeah, go on, Peter.
I probably didn't give them a fair chance, because basically I thought, well, you can die, I don't want to deal with that.
Yes.
I'll not play them.
That is pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah.
Dying
I
of games,
definitely
no.
I see this as an example of Telltale getting a popular game license rather than them seeing something really compelling, you know, from a story perspective that they could really build on. But
I don't know. I mean, I know Sierra fans who are very excited about the comeback of King's Quest. So maybe there's more to it than we know.
maybe.
Yeah, very much outsiders.
I am an ignoramus when it comes to that. So everything I say is going to be
also.
unfair and ill-informed, and
Yeah.
I'm wrong about everything.
I think they are generally loved. by the Sierra fans.
Yeah.
I nearly
Not-
just said fan then, but I thought I'd...
Yes.
Okay.
But I think Space Quest is a little bit more loved.
Yes.
Just because they're a bit more mad humour. You can still
Yeah,
die
those
in them. Which
Those games are funny. Those games are funny. Sierra games have always been really literate, and I've always liked them for that quality. But yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, a lot of people were saying, if Telltale is gonna do a Sierra license, it seems like Space Quest would be the more appropriate one. But again, this is coming from the guy who's only played like the first couple of both of these series.
It's an interesting choice.
Like, didn't King's Quest supposedly get better like later on? I mean,
I think the opposite,
first,
but supposedly.
the first game is a classic in the sense that it's old and it's a parser adventure game that everyone knows, but it's almost infamous for its terrible design.
I think it was like King's Quest 7 or something that was the really, like, the one that got all the budget and the animation and stuff after Curse of Monkey Island came out or something.
Was King's Quest 3? Wasn't King's Quest 3 supposedly a really good one? Now I don't even remember which ones I played, and it's sad because I've got the boxes to all three of those series on my shelf. I mean, I'm looking at the collections for all those games, so it's really shameful. But
I've got about 100 games I've got on my shelf and haven't played, and want to. I think wasn't King's Quest 1? Doesn't that predate Maniac Mansion?
yes,
And I thought so. Set up, basically adventures as we know them. Yeah.
Anyone would think that King's Quest was the only announcement going on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got a lot to get through.
Yeah. Hector Badger Carnage.
Bad Lieutenant, Port of Paul, New Orleans. No, I've never heard of Hector. I've never heard of it.
It's like a new thing. But have you seen the trailer for it? I only watched that literally an hour ago, and I've suddenly fallen in love with it. I think that could be potentially the best one out of the lot.
Really?
Because it's just traditional 2D adventure game. It looks very Day of the Tentacle-y almost.
I have to admit that I haven't really looked it up yet.
I only
I've
did
seen
it just
a
for
video,
completion. Yeah.
But this series, isn't this the series where the first game is already made by another company, and Telltale's making like a second one? Is that how it's working?
This one isn't by Telltale themselves or anything. I think just helping to market it.
They're not developing it.
No, I don't think they're developing it.
They basically took a series that started off as like a self-made game, and they're basically helping to publish it.
Basically, yeah, I think so.
With the second episode on. That's what's going on.
Yes.
So.
And also bringing it to PC, because I think it's just iPhone and iPad only at the moment. They got really good reviews, the first one.
And that's interesting from the perspective of Telltale, because I mean, maybe in the future, little collaborations like this could be possible. Like, I don't know, them rescuing these or helping to fund these independent adventure games or whatever. I don't know. That's an interesting model, premise, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I'd like to see them support other people making adventure games, because I don't necessarily think they're doing a great job themselves at the moment, to be honest.
Oh! Yikes.
Yeah,
okay, so what's after Hector?
Sorry?
What's the next series they announced?
Oh,
out of the 37?
sorry.
We've got 18 to go.
Okay, well, working backwards. Puzzle Agent 2.
Yes, I'm very excited about that one. That's probably the one I'm most excited about. I love Puzzle Agent 1, and I don't think it ever made it to WiiWare yet, but I loved it. I throw that in there because that was like a running joke in the last podcast. I like the WiiWare port was just missing in action, but whatever. I possibly made up a running joke, and it never was, but anyway.
Did it even exist? Did they think about it, or just cancel it?
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah.
It's a shame it's not a full series. It's a shame it's just a one-off thing. Again.
So, anyway, I've just got to go off the microphone for a minute, because my mum and my sister have just arrived. So,
yeah, but how do they feel about King's Quest?
I'm just going to guess. I hate to speak for them, but I'm just going to guess they have no particular strong opinions either way.
I bet they do. Maybe the Walking Dead.
So, please talk amongst yourselves and bear with me while this happens.
Okay,
Yeah, get the music on.
Chris, The Walking Dead, Chris. What about The Walking Dead?
Well, I've just got into the TV series. I've never read the comics.
Never read the comic either, and I
Oh, God.
what
Ow.
the hell? Okay, well, I've also never read the comic, but I love the TV series. As cheesy as the writing got, I really love that show, and I'm stoked about season 2, which we don't get until next Halloween. But the games are supposedly going to be more
Comic book
based on the comic. So
I'm only assuming they're going to use a similar art style. Oh, maybe like a 2D. As the comics.
Right. So that'll be interesting.
Assumption,
I mean,
but
there's another series where I feel ill-equipped to really comment. I mean, I only know the TV series. I liked it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. There are a lot of people wondering
what the hell?
whether it'll be a straight-up adventure game. I think it could work as a straight-up adventure game because, I mean, at least based on the show, it's really character-based. It's not like this big frenetic zombie attack. It's more like about people who happen to, live in a world where zombies exist. It's not like this constant survival horror type thing.
I mean, the series, just from what I've seen, isn't really a horror one almost. There aren't any true scary bits. It's all about the characters mainly.
It's a soap opera punctuated by zombie attacks basically. So it's like I could easily see Telltale basically making it more action oriented than some of their other straight adventure games. But at the same time, I mean, The Walking Dead could definitely work as a straight up adventure game if they took that route. Anyway, let's work on that discussion.
Yeah, I think Jurassic Park is the other comparison.
Yeah,
because
and they don't even have to go that far. I mean, who knows? I act like I know how far they're going. I've only seen the demo that everyone else has seen on Jurassic Park. The quick time events and everything with that.
And Fables, I know absolutely nothing about. Other than it's quite a well-respected comic. It's been going on for longer than Walking Dead, I think.
So we really know nothing. We're not in any position to say anything about any
Fables,
of
I think, is about like fantasy fairy tale characters like Red Riding Hood, etc. Like being real and like brought into 21st century and getting involved in all these gritty adventures.
That's pretty cool.
Adult adventures, I think, as well. A lot of sex and violence in them, I think, which would be interesting. As it always is.
And those are the only...
That's all I know about them. Those are the only ones that have been announced. Yes, all 5 of them.
Those are the 5 or whatever that were announced as part of the giant announcement.
Yes.
So yeah, of those, I'm probably most excited about Puzzle Agent 2.
Yeah.
And Walking Dead.
Yes.
The others, I'm just going to have to actually do some research on them. And
well, Hector, there's
I need
only
to replay
one episode. I think that's coming out on PC soon. And then the second episode is out for PC, iPad in the fall, I think. So really far away.
I should probably really replay King's Quest so I can know what I'm talking about. Haven't played it in years.
I won't, probably. I don't have them. I'm just never interested in them.
Yeah, I've got the Space Quest, Police Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, King's Quest collections. All I'm looking at them. So yeah,
but not played them much.
Well, not have played them in a very long time. Put it that way.
Well, I haven't finished the Vampire Story yet, so...
what an idiot. Why don't you get around to that?
I am getting around to it. I've just got back from China. I've got a lot to play.
Yeah, whatever.
Just finished Epic Mickey. I enjoyed that.
It's always the Chinese fault. Always.
Well, I only had my PC over there. I didn't have my consoles. I've got to catch up with all the fun stuff.
As much as I do want to turn this into another podcast where we berate you for not playing a Vampire Story.
Again.
Yes. Well, but on the same subject, we've got a Vampire Story Year 1. Still don't know a lot about that, but it's pretty clear at this point that it's going to be self-published by Autumn Moon, which means that they're just making it on their own time, on their own dime as they go along. So at this point, I'm not really gonna pretend like it's coming out anytime soon until we get real hard details on that. It's nice to know that he is working on it, though.
Yes, it's good.
He being Bill Tiller being the entirety of Autumn Moon.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah.
Hey, what else have we got? Well, should we talk about Back to the Future?
Yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah, you played both of them?
Yes, 2 episodes into that.
You reviewed.
I reviewed
the first one. I did the second. You did the second.
Yeah. We really need Peter to come back for that, because I think Peter's the one with the emotional opinions on it.
He'll get back to them. We can talk a little bit. Well, we reviewed both of them, so we can and discuss.
Yeah, they already know what we think, though.
Oh, well, we can tell them again. It's not like they read our review or tried to look at the score and then failed.
Well, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed both games. My problem with that series is more technical. I think things are getting maybe a little bit sloppier with this series.
Yeah, that's definitely one for Peter wants to bring up.
But when I read reviews on the internet, what everyone's really complaining about are the puzzles. But I don't really see it. I mean, I get it. I get why the base is upset about the fact that the puzzles are really linear and
easy.
But it just seems to me like we've been prepared for this by now. I mean, this
it's not really just for us. Yeah.
This debate has been going on since 2005 when Out from Boneville came out. It's like, did we not figure out the kind of games Telltale makes yet that we're still acting like shocked that this is what's going on? I mean, granted, their approaches vary a little bit depending on the license. I mean, Sam & Max and Monkey Island are maybe a little bit more
tougher,
sophisticated because they were aimed more at gamers. But still, I mean, I think we know what we're getting from a Telltale game at this point with regard to puzzle difficulty. To me, puzzles have been debated and argued for so long that to me it's like, as long as the puzzles are organic and they make sense and they're not a cheat, I don't care about difficult anymore. Like I don't care. Not in an adventure game where the selling point is the story. Because when it comes to puzzles, I find that when people like are slamming the puzzles of a modern adventure game, they'll usually use some classic masterpiece adventure game to compare it to, but they'll look at it through rose-colored glasses or rose-tinted glasses. It's like you take Grim Fandango. That game is an unbelievable game. It's a masterpiece, but I'm sorry, a lot of the puzzles in that game are complete bullshit. I mean, don't sit here and try to justify to me the puzzle where you got to get the ticket from the coat. The coat lady, and then I don't know, go to the cat track. It's just this big ridiculous puzzle that I guess is kind of impressive in its complexity, but don't tell me it wasn't this convoluted mess that you could have logically figured out, without just a lot of trial and error.
I quite liked that one, actually. I have to say.
God, and there you go. It's like everything's this subjective thing when it comes to puzzles.
Sneaking up on us like that.
But I do agree with your general point. And
have you dispensed with your mother and sister then?
Now that my family has been dispensed with,
you gave them your sausages, didn't you?
I'd already eaten them by the time they got in here. Now I'm working on the beans.
Well, we're just discussing Back to the Future, basically.
Yeah.
Hey,
so you were talking about some people's complaints with the puzzles on that.
Yeah. Just to tell everyone, full spoilers for these 2 episodes. So if you haven't played them and finished them by now, tough.
The thing is, I mean, I think maybe some people who are going on about how easy it is, maybe they have a point, and maybe it could be a little bit trickier in places. But I think that's oh God, hang on a second. My Audacity keeps on changing the input level of my microphone.
Don't break the magic. Podcast.
I know I'm spoiling like the. I'm showing the audience the man behind the curtain here,
Noob.
Right. Anyway, I don't think that's the problem. I think that's the least of Telltale's worries at the moment, is puzzle difficulty.
Yeah, that one, I was expecting it. I'm sure they said that this is more of a mainstream audience than, say, Sam and Max and Monkey Island.
Sure.
So it has to be...
The reason I brought it up
Unbelievable.
is because the puzzles are what my impression, it seems to be the bone of contention amongst everyone on
Really?
the forums. To me, the problems with the games is more technical. It just feels like it feels like they're kind of dropping the ball there, and I don't know if it's just it's too rushed or what.
Well, there is this big old post on the Telltale forum at the moment, which is talking about that. I think we had a news item on it, actually, that guy who worked on Death's Bank, I can't remember his name.
Oh, yes. I also forgotten his name.
Who made that big post about Telltale. And
Sean Howard?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
He came across as a little assholey to me, but you know what? He adores Maniac Mansion, so he's got good points too.
Maybe he did, but I sort of agreed with the broad sweep of his points. And the thing is, also most of the people talking on the Telltale forum also sort of agree with his points.
Yes.
And they're the biggest fans. They're the people who are most willing to give them a bit of slack. So that's a worrying. I think Telltale ought to be worried by that sort of reaction to a post like that.
I think that what this is missing here is that we do not know the percentage of people who play Back to the Future who are not the Telltale fans who agree and disagree about opinions of Sean Howard on the Telltale forums. I mean, Back to the Future is aimed at people who like Back to the Future, and that's a really giant demographic, and I think that I feel like the decision, right or wrong, to make the games as easy or whatever as they are, I mean,
I'm not worried about difficulty.
Yeah.
Well,
sure, but
yeah,
the people, this is in the general Telltale forum, and the people sort of talking on this who are agreeing with this points are people who have been around for years, like the biggest Telltale fans, like the most active people on that forum are saying, yeah, actually, this guy sort of has a point, and I agree with them.
Okay, but what was the point again that he was making?
Well, basically,
They're not polishing as much as they could.
It goes into difficulty a little bit, but I think he does anyway. It's been a while since I read it, but his main point is just that they are not getting... that they are not...
aiming for the highest point they can.
Yeah,
for the best.
They are not being as good as they could be. They are not even close at the moment to being the new LucasArts.
So that's kind of a vague statement that doesn't really tell us anything. I
Well,
mean, I don't know.
I'm going to dig up the article now.
I never understood what his actual issue is. It's like they're not being as good as they could be, but where does he actually expand on this? And the other thing is that I didn't feel like I thought Death's Bank was a very funny game, but frankly, I didn't think the dialogue was any better than Telltale's, and so I just
sure I don't dispute that. But,
shall I read the quote that we've got on Mojo? No, from him.
Yeah, let's see what this.
Okay,
what
just
complaint
quoting. I think Telltale is capable, is capable of far more than they're putting out. I don't hate them. I can't hate them. I'm just disappointed. They've got so much talent behind their walls, and this is the best they can do. I don't believe that for a second. They should be the next new LucasArts. They could be better than LucasArts. They could be, but they aren't. And what frustrates me so very much about Telltale is that it seems that they aren't even trying. Puzzle Agent is the only one that seemed like they bothered, and even that didn't go far enough. They're announcing new games based on old properties, and there's very little evidence that they're making better games because of it.
He didn't say a goddamn thing. I mean, I want.
Well, that's just a quote. The quote we have on our front page.
A larger article.
I need to read the full article.
Oh god. Okay, I'm going.
Chris, would you read the entire article for me?
Okay.
No, I don't want you to do that. But that pull quote does not pinpoint any kind of issue. That's just him saying it's not what it should be, and then not going into any reason, not going into any explanation as to what he means. I mean, so I guess what I'm saying is, what was this point that everyone at the Telltale forums agreed upon that
that they could be doing better, basically. They're not.
Yeah, but
they're rushing things basically, and not trying to polish them as much as they can to perfection.
Okay, so it's an issue of polish. Again,
In a way, basically.
See, my issue with the polish is that I think that, like, you know, I just feel like there are a lot of technical hiccups with the game. Like, in my review, I pointed out that a lot of the transitions were kind of awkward. Like, you know, you're talking to a character who's standing up, and then when you end the dialogue tree, they're just immediately sitting down again.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. That was my issue with the game. But you can't just say the polish is bad, and then I don't know what that means.
The problem is, it's not even, with that sort of thing, with those sort of bugs, it's not even obscure stuff. Like, it's stuff that probably most people are encountering as they play through the game, and it's not being caught at any point and fixed, because they don't have the time, or they just can't be I don't know what it is. And it's the reason why I'm probably being so vague about what the problem is that I think it's an all-pervasive problem. I don't think there's any one area that you can pick out that they're failing in. They are just all-round not quite good enough, whether it's with like little graphical glitches, whether it's like continuity bugs, whether it's just interface things, whether it's just
a general rushed feeling.
Yeah,
that they think that they have to keep to a schedule.
You know when you
got a
LucasArts game back in the good old days, and you knew that what you were picking up was just going to be this lovingly crafted thing, which was more. I mean, even if the theme of the game or whatever wasn't quite to your liking, or it wasn't as good as your favourite LucasArts game, you knew that what you were getting was going to have like so much love behind it that.
Yeah, but it's you know, on one hand you're saying it sounds like the problems, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, you know, but it sounds like a lot of the complaints that you're talking about and on the forums that you've cited anyway come down to bugginess, bug issues.
No. Well, that's part of the reason.
See, the bugs are they're like an easy target, but there's stuff that is a bit less difficult to pin down, like. That animation just kind of looks a bit cheap or not quite right or just weird, or this transition is kind of jarring. It's tiny things that are very difficult to describe, but when they add up over the course of a game, you get the impression that you're not playing something which is quite done.
It's hard to describe without reading his entire post, which is pretty big. I'm trying to skim read it, but
and he does complain a little bit about the writing in the games as well, which I don't agree with so much. I don't think the writing is such a problem as the rest of it. But I would say that, you know, I don't think.
They're just not. It's quite described. They're saying they're not pressing hard enough to be as good as they can be. They're playing it safe as just good enough.
I guess the writing has been sort of safe in the games. I think in one of the things he mentions that most of the time, you know, like the Sam and Max animated series has like edgier dialogue than what's in most of the Sam and Max Telltale series.
I don't agree with that at all.
No,
but anyway.
I'm not sure whether I agree with that or not, but I do agree that.
I mean, the only thing I can really say about that is this: Hit the Road, the animated series, and the Telltale series definitely have distinct feels to them. You know, they definitely feel like they kind of focus. Yeah, I don't know. They feel like they capture different essences of the comics better than, like, you know, like I could say Hit the Road captured this aspect of the comics better than the other two, but on the other hand, I can definitely say that the Telltale series definitely captured this aspect of Sam and Max better. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
At all?
Yeah. And and maybe it's just whatever aspect he happened to like or whatever is what's bugging him. Yeah, okay, I can go along with that. But anyway, this is why this post, the complaints in this post is so difficult to pin down, because everybody has a slightly different idea about what's wrong with Telltale at the moment, but also everybody seems to sort of agree that at least something is wrong with Telltale at the moment.
The general popular consensus I can see from like reading stuff and comments on reviews and on major sites is that a lot of their games are beginning to feel a bit samey and look a bit samey as well. As they're not extraordinary. They're not pushing things. They're just all going following the same structure, same graphics engine.
Yeah, that's the problem at the moment. I think that they're just kind of okay, and they're sort of a bit cheap and glitchy. And I have to sort of, if someone who isn't very aware of Telltale asks me if they should buy the game, I always say, yeah, you should totally buy it. But then I have to say, but you should understand that they are made very quickly, and it's not going to be like super polished for the money that you pay. I feel like I have to add that disclaimer whenever I recommend a Telltale game to anyone, and that is kind of bad. I think that I should have to do, or at least feel the need to do that.
Right.
I mean, getting back to the Future, just a sec. With episode 2 in particular, with episode 1 and 2, just the amount of times where the solution to a puzzle was use Einstein to find someone, and was a bit silly. There must have been 3 or 4 times that you just used an object on the dog, and he would just immediately sniff them out.
Yeah.
I found a cheap way to get out there. And there was also... In episode 2 in particular, they felt that there was a puzzle missing, to do with the roulette table, which they fully put in there and you could use. And Kid Tannen uses it to go through, and then it's...
Oh, yeah.
And then it just felt that there was going to be something more to do with that. You were going to have to figure out a way through the wall.
There was that moment where Kid Tannen uses it, and you think, that's a clue for something later, obviously, and then it never sort of comes up again.
No.
I remember exactly what you're talking about. How did you end up getting through the door?
You don't go through the door. You meet him later.
Unless it's a setup for a episode 3 puzzle, and that'd be kind of cool. If
that would be, I would retract my comment, but it did felt
setting up a puzzle in episode 3 in episode 2. That'd be kind of cool, actually. But
I sort of hope they don't, because they've been to that time period enough for me.
Well, we're only 2 episodes in. We'll see.
I'd be surprised if they didn't go back there again.
Yeah, he's got to go fix whatever apparently got screwed up in the future at the end of the episode. Spoiler alert, I guess.
No, we're beyond spoilers now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
It's too late.
I warned them. Briefly, but I warned them. But yeah, I mean, just off the technical things, but I definitely had noticed plenty of bugs in the Back to the Future ones in particular. I didn't notice any in Sam and Max, but in Back to the Future in particular, I've noticed a lot of technical hitches.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Sam and Max Season 3 has so far seemed like a much more polished thing than Back to the Future. It's kind of been a shock to me how many times I sort of have to think, oh, really? They didn't fix that before the game went out?
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be taking... I guess my overarching worry is maybe it's just that they are outgrowing the business model that really worked well for them at the beginning of getting these games out really, really quickly, because people had a lot of goodwill early on, because they really wanted to see them succeed, and they really liked what they were doing in general, and they could see that Telltale were gradually sort of improving with every try that they made.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting point, and you're starting to see a lot of, or at least more diversity in Telltale's games that you used to in terms of like the genre. Like they've had this puzzle agent experiment, you could call it, and maybe they could diversify the business model.
I've got no problem with that. Yeah.
Like in other words, what I mean by that apparently it was funny. Puzzle Agent is not an episodic season like their other games, right? So, if they're going to make different kinds of games,
Two has to be bigger.
They don't necessarily have to use the exact same scheduling or whatever that they use for any given season.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem with doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely need to start exploring that more, because it seems to me just like this whole thing of getting those games out as quickly as they need to get those games out, and at the level of quality that we expect from them at a minimum, really, is getting harder and harder for them.
Yeah, because Sam and Max was basically, as far as we could see, the only thing that they had on last year, that and Puzzle Agent, and they both came out really well. Whereas now we've got what was that, 7 new properties in the next year?
Yeah, something like that.
And that's, can they really handle it? And just from the basis of Back to the Future 1 and 2, which is the only things they're releasing until April, until next month, no, they don't think they can.
Yeah, or at least not. Yeah, but again, not without me having to say, well, it's all right, but.
Yeah.
And if I'm saying that, and I've got all the sort of will in the world to want to like the games and want them to do well, then what is just the average person picking the game up thinking? I'm gonna have to say that there's probably quite a few people who are very disappointed with their first Telltale experience at the moment.
Yes.
I wish I could read more opinions from Back to the Future fans who this is their first Telltale game, right? I think that'd be the most interesting opinions to read, and they aren't exactly the easiest to come by, because generally, by nature, if someone's going to be writing a review of a video game, this will not have been their first video game that they're reviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in terms of the writing and capturing the spirit of the license, do we agree that they've at least done that successfully? I think by and large.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did quibble a little about some of the more fantastic things that are going on in them. I
just have a problem with some of
Sam and Maxie, almost.
Yeah. No, I just think my problem has mostly been, I think some of the in-jokes have been kind of forced, but other than that, I think it's pretty good so far. But again, we're only 2/5 of the way through the story. I mean, at what point of Back to the Future, the movie, were we 2/5 of the way through the story, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to know where.
Oh, I'm enjoying the
story.
I'm definitely enjoying the story and the characters. I'm really getting into, particularly young Emmett.
Yeah, good characters, good general plot, and as usual, they are doing a pretty good job of capturing the spirit of whatever license that they're dealing with.
Yes.
I mean, if they're good at anything, they're good at that sort of thing.
That's not a bad thing.
So I really want to talk to people who like Back to the Future and say, you should totally try this, but then in the back of my head I'm thinking, are they just going to be a bit funny about when it doesn't behave quite like it should, like when people suddenly appear out of nowhere, or when an animation just looks really strange, or however many other things that you experience that make you go, oh, that's not quite right, during your average Telltale experience nowadays.
Well, the only one I've had on, I've tried it on my laptop and this computer I've got here. And I both had shadow problems on both of them. And that a weird sort of pixely line occasionally would be attached to them.
Yeah, I've had that.
On both episodes. And also, just little things all that. And also, them changing Marty's name. Because rather coolly in the first episode, you get to choose which pseudonym you want.
Oh, yeah.
But then they get it wrong occasionally.
Yeah, which is annoying because I was impressed at first
I was, yes.
when they got it right in the second episode, what I had chosen for the first episode. I thought, oh, that's neat. They've actually gone to the trouble of going into the save game of your previous game or whatever and extracting your choice, which is, I think, probably, I'm not entirely sure, but that's something I think might be new to a Telltale game, actually taking data from the previous episode.
Possibly. Well, they've done it with settings before, so I don't see what this.
Now I just can't stop thinking about the roulette table. Now I'm just convinced we're gonna use it
because they fully animated it and put it in,
right?
Could use it, and then it just wasn't there for any reason.
I mean, you'd think that if they weren't going to use it for any reason, then there'd just be a button or something.
Yeah.
To open the door.
Although it has happened before that they have removed entire puzzles from.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of that episode of Sam and Max.
Right, Moai Better Blues was like an infamous example.
Yes.
Of that.
Yeah. That
I
particular.
think ATM had a heart attack because basically on Game Tap, which back when it was premiering on Game Tap before the rest of the world got it, they accidentally uploaded like a beta or an early version of it, but like not only was it like, had a lot of bugs in it, but like there was like this big extended puzzle in it. There were some additional lines of dialogue that got trimmed out, and it was like there was like this big 3-part puzzle, like I guess an adventure game standard that just got completely eliminated and simplified for the final game for whatever reason.
And seriously,
that's just fascinating. I don't know.
Seriously, and I don't necessarily agree with people complaining about episodes being too short or whatever, because as far as I'm concerned, once the whole series is complete, you have a decent length product anyway. But when you're removing puzzles from a game that is as already short as the second episode of Back to the Future is, then you got to worry when they're getting to that level of having to take things out. I've got to wonder about their reasons. Was it just because of time, or was it because the puzzle wasn't working, or what was going on there? Because
I don't think. My guess is that no puzzle was removed there. I think we're going to be seeing.
I don't know. They are pretty sharp.
That's the recurring character in the series.
Okay.
The roulette table.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's worth a disclaimer there. We might not have a clue what we're talking about in these situations, so
we can hope. Yeah.
To give
but they're going to force one in there just to annoy me.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, Back to the Future, good game, but no Short Circuit 2. All right, Jurassic Park, right?
No Van Helsing. No.
Right.
Can't believe I remembered my one. Yeah. Jurassic Park.
Get that in April.
Yes. I'm cautiously looking forward to it.
Well, what's interesting to me is that, what I was going to say is that as far as the movie franchises are concerned, I'm way, way more of a Back to the Future fan than I am a Jurassic Park fan. But I think as a game, I'm way more excited and hopeful about Jurassic Park. Which is weird because it would have seemed to me that Back to the Future would have just been the perfect license for Telltale to do. I don't know, maybe I was just thinking that, it would have been something Day of the Tentacle or whatever. I'm talking about like way back when it was announced before, we started getting the first glimpses of what the game is as it is now. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that what I think I made the same point during the Remy podcast I had when me and Remy recorded last summer, was that like I will not be surprised at all if the story and whatnot of the Telltale Jurassic Park series turns out to be way better than the motion picture Jurassic Park series.
Maybe
2 and 3 certainly.
Yeah. I gotta say, from what I've seen of Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs look great. I really like how the dinosaurs look.
I agree with that.
I'm really impressed. But I do wish that they would, I don't know, maybe they just need to hire someone who knows how to render
animate dinosaurs.
Hair.
Oh. Like us that.
Render hair is what I was going for. Because they all look like they've got Lego hair or something on that in that game. It's starting to bug me a little.
I definitely see a lot of their CSI games in the Jurassic Park, which makes sense because I mean it's more realistic than any of these than Sam and Max or Monkey Island or something. But I definitely see CSI character models in that game. But I think the environments look terrific, and
Yeah.
generally Telltale usually makes up with the kind of less than amazing character models with the animation. That's
Yeah.
usually how they kind of even out
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah, I mean, when you get a long shot of Jurassic Park, it actually looks impressively good when you got all like the storm effects happening and
yeah,
and all the stuff going on in the background. I was genuinely impressed with how that looked. But yeah, once it gets close up on a character, I'm forgiving of that. We're getting back to the same point, really. I'm very forgiving of Telltale, maybe not having the time or the budget to do these big old AAA-looking characters, but someone just coming to the game because they like Jurassic Park and want to play this new Jurassic Park game and don't really have any idea who Telltale is
That's
not going to be so forgiving.
Well, that's going to be fascinating from the perspective of, this is definitely the first story-driven Jurassic Park game that's ever been attempted. I mean, the Jurassic Park games that have come before this have been action games.
And terrible, mostly.
There've been that.
Yeah.
Well, there's been that arcade
Same Back to the
shooter.
Future, really.
I remember playing the Lost World game where I was shooting raptors with a gun. So it'll be interesting to see the reaction to that. People who are going to go into a Jurassic Park game, kind of naturally expecting this to be maybe a Turok type experience or something, and suddenly they get a talky, character-driven thing. It'll be interesting to see what the reaction to that could be. I could see a lot of people being turned off, and at the same time, I could see a lot of people just surprised, being, wow, I didn't think they would actually, pay attention to this kind of stuff at the level they are.
I think it could be positive. The heavy rain style is what they're going for, and I think that could work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, people who have played Heavy Rain, which is probably quite a lot of people now, will get where they're coming from the gameplay at least.
Right.
And
I think if the story and the characters are good, they can definitely get away with it.
And let's face it, I mean, the story and the characters will probably be good. It will probably be an enjoyable story to play. Again, this is where Telltale excel.
Yeah. From an adventure gamer's point of view, I kind of see this as Telltale's equivalent of The Dig, at least in the premise and the idea of like, you're this humans kind of stuck in this atmospheric, exotic world with dangerous creatures running around. I can really see this being a really amazing game from a tone, from an atmosphere standpoint.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most, probably.
Yeah, it could be, and I guess, and I don't want to labour this point too much, because I probably have been, but I guess that's why the bits which aren't quite looking so great, like the characters, bugs me so much, because I can imagine it being really great atmospherically, like you're in this jungle, you're in it's all very dark and shadowy, and there are things moving in the shadow, and then out from the shadow emerges this guy who looks like he was just time travelled from last generation or something, and it sort of just kills it a little bit when you get stuff like that.
Well, I didn't mind the visuals, but in the trailer, I didn't get the impression that the writing was particularly good by the trailer. But to come back to The Dig, I didn't like the writing of that game that much either.
I didn't enjoy The Dig that much.
Most people seem to forgive it for that.
I've seen a brief gameplay trailer with a bit more dialogue in it. That was quite good.
Did you see the demo on Giant Bomb?
Yes, that's the one I saw.
Yeah. I did see the big extended clip. I just keep thinking of the trailer where the characters say like hell 3 times, like they're trying to sound cool or something. Where the hell is Nedry? What the hell kind of park is this? I don't know. It comes off as so lame to me, but it is a trailer. Trailers are almost by design to be like that.
I'm happy they got swearing in Back to the Future. I was happy to see that, because I was worried they would cut out.
What swearing?
Well, there's shit and crap and all sorts of stuff.
Really? I must have forgotten that.
No, because there's swearing all over the place in Back to the Future. You just expect it to be like a family film.
Yeah. I remember now.
But then there's loads of swearing in it as well.
Yeah.
And
well, that's good, because that's totally in keeping with the tone. Again, this is Telltale actually paying attention to what what the tone of the franchise is, which is cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are the things that matter.
Yes, it is.
Look, whether you like it or not, shit matters.
Yes.
Right?
And happens.
And happens.
Also, with getting back to Jurassic Park, story-wise, if they just have a female character who is either A, not immortal, or B, isn't really annoying, then they'll have beaten Jurassic Park 2 and 3.
Well, I'm not going to say it. I will say this, though. When I saw the trailer...
No women die in Jurassic Park films.
I heard the woman's... I heard the actress's voice. Was that the actress who plays Jane Starling in Ghost Pirates of Voodoo Island? Or am I the only one here who's played that, I guess?
You are.
Yes.
Alright.
Could be.
Never mind.
And they're also really annoying. You want them to die. Sorry, nothing against women. Just Jurassic Park's women.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, I thought you were talking about women in general.
No!
I
Women in
wasn't-
Jurassic Park, specifically.
I wasn't really sure where to go from
Tia
there.
Leone and all the small kids.
I was accused of sexism by a Mojo commenter at some point. I forgot what news post it was. I think I made some remark about Tasha Harris. I think I made like some lame sexual pun or something.
dear.
I don't know. And I got attacked in the comments by that.
No.
So
I'm specifically talking about the
Again, the
female
point is, if-
characters in Jurassic Park are
Yes.
really annoying, and they never die when you want them to.
the most annoying
That's the
character
problem with women in
the,
general, isn't it? They just never die when you want them.
Dark place. Dark place.
The worst character in the Jurassic Park films is clearly the Vince Vaughn character in Part 2. That character just makes me just angry.
I think he dies though, so it's alright.
I've only seen that film once.
He does not die.
Does he?
He does not die.
Oh god. I'm thinking of the wrong one then. It's Vaughn character, was it? You sure?
And I preferred 3 to 2, by the way.
I think, yeah, so did I. I think that in 2 the worst character was the T-Rex. He was just hamming it up the whole time.
I think 2's
Yeah.
alright until they get the T-Rex off the island.
Yeah.
And then it just
That was
goes into
terrible.
a farce.
I hate it. It's Spielberg's worst movie by far. The fucking moralizing and the stupid message about how... I hate it. I hate that movie so much.
And
Anyway.
you just know that the T-Rex was... That was all because the T-Rex demanded to have a more exciting part.
Yeah.
And just he
It's
was
like-
insisted on going around on a rampage around a city, so then the writers had to write that in.
Free upset me though when the T-Rex
Yeah.
died. And got beaten up by a really crap, boring dinosaur. Or with a big mouth and just looked crocodile-like and just, nah, it's not good.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. You know, I don't know all that much
reminds
about
you?
dinosaurs.
Okay.
I don't know all that much about dinosaurs, but do you know in the stuff we've seen from Jurassic Park so far, do Triceratops get that big? because you see a little one, you see the first one, and it's pretty.
So that's probably the best question I've ever been asked, and the most impossible one for me to answer.
We have we happen to have a Triceratops in the studio. If you guys could bear with me, we could get a straight
There's my
answer
dinosaur book.
from
I'm
the
sure I've
source.
got around there somewhere.
Because right, you
why
see
does
the
that-
first one, which is in the way of the gate. and it's doing
Eyewitness
another thing.
dinosaur. Here we go.
But anyways, no, seriously, right? You get. Listen, this is a serious point.
I'm sure.
You get the first Triceratops, which is sort of chewing on that thing in front of the gate and blocking the way, and you think it's about normal Triceratops size, and then you chase it back into the gate, and then the big one comes along and starts doing the fight with the other one, but that one's about 3 times the size of the other one. It's like the biggest.
I think this podcast was better with the anti-women overtones. No,
At least we could answer that.
I don't think the size. I don't think the size of the dinosaurs is something they care about being too realistic about. I mean, first of all, they're clearly
Second-hand
using
evidence.
the actual movies as the influence here with regard to the dimensions and the appearance of dinosaurs, and the movies were not realistic at all, at all, right? Isn't that the consensus in the scientific community?
Maybe,
Hello?
maybe it is, maybe. But look, if there are any paleontologists listening,
Well, according to my book, that looks around the right size.
okay, all right then.
But
Okay.
without
I think
going
if
out
they
into the
want-
field
I think-
and photographing a Triceratops, I think they're fine.
All
If they
right,
want
okay.
a gigantic, improbably sized Triceratops, they can go ahead and put it in there. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fantasy. It's alright.
Yeah, we didn't have spitting dinosaurs either, right? And the raptors were supposed to be like much smaller. Isn't that, you know?
The raptor designs in Jurassic Park are generally based on like a different one called I think it was Deinonychus or something. I actually did learn that at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas the
They're
raptors,
accurate to the
raptors are
they're
smaller.
accurate to the inaccuracies of the movie. Well,
Yes.
that's what I think. That's what people want to see in a Jurassic Park brand game.
Yeah.
They want to see the Jurassic Park version. Now, of course, that's all just like completely ignoring everything Peter's saying, because I don't think we ever depicted a giant Triceratops in the movie. So we're really just being assholes and ignoring his point. But
Sure. Okay. Look, I'm sorry, guys. You know how I get when I see an improperly sized dinosaur.
I know.
I know.
I should have known.
It's a real problem. But
We're sorry, Peter.
Yeah. Let's move on from this.
yeah, in fact, I gotta duck out in like 10 minutes. Let's get
Oh,
on.
crap.
We got
Double Fine,
we have
Double Fine.
Double Fine.
Stacking Costume Quest, Sesame Street Entrenched.
Okay, well, I loved Costume Quest and Stacking. I don't have an Xbox, so I can't play either of their two upcoming games, and I'm really bitter about that. So
now you know
What
how we
about
feel.
you? What about-
As PC gamers.
Well, I don't have Kinect, and to be honest, I don't really see myself getting Kinect just for a Sesame Street game.
Even if I did have a
as
Kinect, boy.
even one made by Double Fine.
If I had kids, I admit I probably would.
Yeah.
But no. It's not,
Yeah.
it's
I
not,
like
it's not
the
for me,
idea.
it's really not.
I do like the idea that they apparently had the concept and the idea before they decided to marry it with Sesame Street. You know,
Yeah.
so that at least goes to show that it wasn't something that they I don't know.
Sort out.
Well, yeah.
Just for the license.
I get that. That sounds pretty pathetic too. The idea that they'd be selling out just by trying to make it a license, but I don't know. This is somehow violated the purity of Double Fine's original IP exclusiveness up until now.
Sure. I mean, but whatever. You know,
I don't
it's
have a problem
clearly a
with that,
kids' game, and if
Right.
anyone can make a cool game for Kinect that kids will enjoy, then I'm sure that Double Fine will do a great little job of that.
Yeah.
Little.
But well, the reason I'm saying it like that is that, I mean, come on, let's face it. Even though we love Double Fine and that, this game is not really for us. You know.
Oh, I can only speak for me, but I really do genuinely want to play it. It's just I won't have occasion to, but I'm probably gonna do so eventually. I just won't be able to do it as early as I would want. I mean, I'm certainly gonna find a way to play it. I've got to play Trenched too. I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna rectify all
Trench
this.
looks weird. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that doesn't look very Double Finey. That doesn't.
No,
it's a bit too obvious, like an Xbox
don't-
Live title. But more I've seen of it, the more I'm thinking, actually, that could work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's really early to tell, but I think the Double Fine personality of it is going to come through and just sort of like really over the top gameplay.
Supposedly it's more of a
Yeah.
strategy game than a shoot 'em up, which
Yeah.
makes me
Yeah.
think Brutal
It looks
Legend
like-
straight away.
Yeah, it definitely looks a lot like Brutal Legend, maybe a little more generic, but in terms of the style, I mean. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Usually, when you think of a Double Fine game, you think of a really distinct, cool art style, and this game decidedly doesn't have that. But I think they're gonna use that to their advantage. I think I kind of see what they're going for there. It's gonna be kind of an over the top, action fun game.
Yeah. Have either of you played a game on a downloadable game called Toy Soldiers?
Heard of it. I know they're releasing a new one soon.
I played some G.I. Joe Toy Soldiers game, something. Some kind of Toy Soldiers game, maybe on the GameCube or the N64.
There's Army Men, that had about 1,000 versions.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's on. I don't know whether it's on anything else, but it's on Xbox Live Arcade anyway, for one thing. It's this game where it's sort of like a tower defense game, but also you get to hop into various units and control them directly.
Like it, yeah.
So it sounds like that there might be some elements of that sort of thing in this new Trenched game, where you set up all these defenses to defend against these aliens, but also have direct control of units and stuff, and they're going around actually directly shooting stuff. And that style of gameplay could actually be really cool. It definitely worked in Toy Soldiers anyway.
Yeah. It's just a shame that the theme about the aliens thing has just been done so many times.
Yeah, but the closer you look at it, the closer that you see all of the double finey elements of it. Just like
I've looked at it more.
Like
since,
the weird
yeah.
TV screens in the aliens' faces or whatever is just a weird thing, and just some of the designs of those big robots you get to control. One of them looks like an aircraft carrier on legs or something.
Yeah.
Some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, I think the end result. I think when we actually play it, it's not going to be able to be confused for anything but a Double Fine game. I really don't have.
I think so. Yeah.
There.
I think I've got this feeling that they're grabbing a lot of code from Brutal Legend from that, because
I had the feeling.
There's just this bit in the trailer where this base collapses, and it just for some weird reason just reminded me of like the stage collapsing at the
Right. I know what you mean.
During one of the Brutal Legend battles, and I mean that's not a bad thing that they're borrowing that code or anything, but you can sort of see where some of that stuff comes from.
And Microsoft is the publisher for that, so I guess that explains why it's an Xbox exclusive. Yeah. THQ published the first 3. Right? Is that the idea? Are they publishing Sesame Street?
I don't know, but as that's like an Xbox-only game, wouldn't be surprised me if that was Microsoft too.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know THQ were just the first 2, I think.
But with Trenched, we now know what all 4 of the Amnesia Fortnite games are, and I guess everything beyond that is going to be beyond that. We'll get to find out the Ron Gilbert game, whatever that is, and kind of exciting to see what they're going to cook up next.
I'm really pleased with what Double Fine are doing at the moment.
Yes.
I'm just so happy with this direction that they seem to be going in. I think, more games, and at the level of quality that they seem to be able to put out these games as well. I mean, the concerns that I've got with... I mean, I know that their models are completely different, but the concerns that I've got with Telltale are nowhere to be seen with Double Fines, and I was slightly concerned because, traditionally, Tim Schafer, Double Fine have been... They take a long time over their games.
Right.
I was a little bit concerned when I first heard that they were coming out with sort of 4 games in quick succession.
Well, I think it seems to be the case that the reason those games took long, and this is just hypothesis here, is that they basically had to build an engine from the ground up for both Psychonauts and Brutal Legend. What it seems like they're doing now is they've got an engine in hand. Now they're just going to make games with it. And that's why that's where you get this impressive rate of 4 games within a 12-month period, I suppose.
That's fair enough, but even like the polishing phase seemed to take an awful long time for them.
Sure.
Maybe that was just my perception of it. So it did concern me slightly that they were coming up with stuff in such quick succession, but somehow they are finding ways to make these games look as polished, as great, and just feel as good as the stuff that took them years to make.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Okay. What about LucasArts? What do they? Don't they make like tires these days or something?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I'm considering it. I think we should consider like a regular segment for this podcast. Something to do every one, which is basically what the fuck is LucasArts doing? That's
Yeah.
what the segment title.
Well, here's the deal. They don't seem to be developing anything yet. They have that
Or publishing anything.
They have that creative director that they hired from what was it, Ubisoft Montreal? That guy I posted about him. But the point is, they seem to have a team of developers on payroll. You know, supposedly, presumably, doing more than brewing coffee. I mean,
and a Shanghai studio as well.
Well, actually, we do know they're developing something. They're developing some sort of Kinect Star Wars game, right? Right. But that's like the only thing we know of, and it'd be pretty heartbreaking if that was the only thing they had on the pipeline. And then they're publishing the third Lego Star Wars. Go ahead.
Wouldn't it be just great if they came out with an announcement that none of us expected, like a completely new franchise, something that actually looks interesting?
That would be great and impossible, and you'll be waking up shortly.
Just a new Indiana Jones game would do me.
Same here. But it's like it seems like even that is too much to ask for these days. I don't get it. How do you not take advantage of a license like that? I just don't understand. I guess it's just too easy to let BioWare or EA pay a license fee to make the Old Republic and just sit back and collect money. I don't know why they figured out a way to just make money just by owning those IPs. They don't have to even do anything. I guess I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, hideous state of affairs. And Force Unleashed 2 was apparently utterly awful.
Well,
I heard that it was not very well received.
So much so that even I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I never cared.
That's
no loss here.
Pretty,
no
disappointment. I think we're avoiding the elephant in the room here, which is when the hell are they going to make a sequel to Fracture?
Well, Day One Studios are making Fear 3 now, so they're pretty full up with their time.
Yeah.
But I know it's unforgivable.
I'm going to make my traditional complaint about why can't they just keep putting their games on Steam? Why do they have to stop? I mean, they start off so well. You had your Armed to Dangers, you had a handful of adventure games. Why did they just stop? They've got such a great back catalog. All they got to do is make it available.
And they get money from it, so people don't have to pirate them.
Oh, I'm just really bitter about that.
They just stick them on Steam, don't have to do anything to them, and they just get money from them.
I mean, I don't know if they don't have to do anything, but it just
Jedi Knight they didn't do anything to.
There's no defense. They're just
yeah. They even cut out the CD audio with Jedi Knight.
I mean, I guess there could be some Windows 7 compatibility problems, which is going to be more and more of an issue for people now. But I mean, apart from sorting that out, it can't cost them very much to put these games out. You wouldn't have thought.
No, I think they just don't. I think they just can't be bothered. They don't care. And I don't know how well they've been selling on Steam, but
they must be selling. Even if it's selling something.
To me, it's like a preservation. Why not just make it? It's like unless you're embarrassed at these games or you actively don't want them available, why not? It just seems like this isn't a complaint that people have made. I mean, we've been making about this since the year 2000. It just seems like they would have finally just joined the 21st century and made their games digitally available and just
and they started to, and then they just screwed up.
It just burns me up. They just have the greatest catalog of adventure games ever made, and no one gets to play them. Here's the Dig and the talkie version of Loom and go to hell. It's like, come on. I don't know.
And the basic reason is just it's all pervasive reason that they just don't have any imagination anymore. They can't see the benefit to doing such a thing because they don't have any imagination.
It's just kind of pathetic. Like, you'll see someone come in the forums, maybe they'll have just played the 2 special editions, they'll have just been introduced to Monkey Island. It's like, so where can I buy Curse? You tell them, like, well, there's eBay, and
there's that piracy thing that's going around, and
it's just sad. Just sad.
That is depressing.
Why didn't they release those 2 on Steam?
You know, I think the worst thing of all is that on a modern system, as far as I know now, on a modern system, it's just very difficult to play Grim Fandango. and that is a game which you should be able to play whenever you want. It's too good to not be able to play.
You know, before Scum VM was around, the way I used to play the older adventure games, and by older I guess I mean everything from Maniac Mansion maybe through
Out
Full
from
Throttle.
Bonneville. Yeah.
No, I would.
That's
I would
pretty
have
old
like
now.
I would have like a DOS computer, like basically,
LucasArts stuff.
you know, with like the old style sound system. Yeah, yeah. I mean specifically LucasArts adventure games, and I would just have like a really ancient PC on the side of my desk. I would just use that, you know, to actually play them.
And really, that should be a clue for LucasArts, really, shouldn't it? When we couldn't get old LucasArts games working, a bunch of people got together and wrote a program that basically designed to interpret the games from the ground up.
You'd think it would give them a clue, but they're not very good at seeing blatantly obvious things.
You'd think
they're staring them in the face.
Hang on, maybe people actually want to play these games if they're bothering to write software to completely interpret the files that no longer work on their new computers.
Angry.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer, but
I can't begin to imagine what they're thinking. Not obviously.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to be rude to you guys, and I gotta duck out.
Well, we're pretty much done anyway, and we've still done about an hour, haven't we?
yeah.
Yeah, we've gone past an hour, so I think we could wrap it up.
Well, all right. Well, Chris, go play a Vampire Story.
Ugh.
I guess Jurassic Park. I hope women die in that, and you guys
As
have
always.
a nice. Yeah, that's
Okay.
about the size of it, I guess. So long.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye all.